Hello and welcome to the round 10 team sheets video. It is George from Fantasy Take TV, and we'll discuss all the lineups today, all 9 games. A few rookies been dropped, we'll touch on that, and we'll touch on Canelio as well. Canelio is a really hard one, I think, and I'll go through my thought process on whether I'm holding or trading when we get to GWS. So we'll start off with Carlton versus St Kilda. So in Young and Stocker, out Kemp, Nunes and Zach Williams injured for a long time. In O'Riordan for the Swans, out Rowbottom suspended for a week, and Clark, who was a sub. So just here, looks like who's taken Williams' spot? I suppose it's Stocker, I guess. So yeah, maybe like Kemp held his spot down back, but obviously not. So he's just a no-go. Injury prone, and he's out now, I guess, as well, so that's whatever. So he was a 150k defender. So on Carlton's side of things, Walsh named on a wing. We saw him line up off half forward a lot last week, so I guess he's still an okay option. He still scores well, still around the ball a lot, works really hard, probably build up his match fitness now. I do worry about the CBA slightly, but still I'm not against bringing him in. I think he's a solid option. Hewitt on ball, we like that. Doherty on the interchange, that's very strange. Yeah, it's a bit weird. But nonetheless, I think that's nothing to worry about, I would imagine. Just a bit odd. And on the Swan side of things, so Jake Lloyd's picked up the last 2 weeks. Still not certain I'd trust him trading him in, just because of how they're using McInerney and Blakely to rebound a lot. So yeah, they put the ball in their hands, they run and gun. It's been done to death now, so I don't think Lloyd is safe enough to bring in, but I guess it wouldn't surprise me if he goes 95 from here on out. There's too many good defenders to compete with. Heaney on a wing, it's like whatever. It's wherever he plays, he plays. At least he will average 90 in a bad role. Absolute worst, I'd imagine. Parker on ball. Callum has been unreal. I don't think I'll get Callum this year. I'm just priced out of him. So simple as that. If you loads of trades, good cash gen, maybe you can go him as your last upgrade, because getting him in now might hurt your future upgrades. But nonetheless, it looks quite comfortably top 8 and probably top 3 the way he's looking. But yeah, I guess a little bit of durability risk with him, so I'll pass, I guess. Stevens emergency. I would give up on Stevens by now, to be honest, but I guess could be sub. I don't know. You would think Campbell was sub from this list. How many talls are running? McDonald, Franklin, Latham. So they run a very tall forward line, and they run quite a few forwards. So it's quite surprising Heaney doesn't get more CBAs, but he still pushes up the ground a lot. So that's fine. So the Crows versus St Kilda, Murphy and Thilthorpe in, out Himmelberg, Scholl and Pedler. So Scholl out, that should help Saligo, yeah. In Magdalene Miller. Out Higgins, out Jack Steele, out for 6 to 8, so he has to go, unfortunately. Very sad. So on the Crows defense, so Hinge named down back. If you're holding him, you can still hold, I guess, but he's probably the most expendable guy back there if you want to grab a Thompson or Buku Kamas. Saligo named on a wing, so I thought he was okay, and he's built up some really good SNFL form, so I hope he stays in the team. He averaged 30 touches in NAB League, so like similar to like Connor McDonald. But at least Saligo's got a better role than McDonald, so I don't think it's really one to bring in, because you bring in Greg Clark this week. But yeah, if you still have him, that's fine. I'm just not sure. He's pretty young. He's pretty much had 1 good game at AFL level now, so I'm not too sure, to be honest. So I can't really help too much there, but he's looked good, and I hope he keeps playing. Berry and Haitley are getting a lot of CBA, so good to see them do quite well. Well, Berry's probably done well for 3 weeks. Haitley's done well for 1 week. So yeah, 240k middle buy for Haitley. Maybe it was like picking our starting team and he looked good and guaranteed job security, but probably no, I guess. Just really awkward price, but he's a capable scorer. Hopefully he puts it together for his career. Down back for St Kilda. Nothing really here. So who's gobbling up the mid minutes? So I guess maybe Seb Ross, Jones and Crouch. Maybe they give rotations to Billings or something, I'm not sure. Gresham as well. So nothing really to discuss on the Saints side of things. Owen's emergency, could be sub. He's probably not going to do anything. So Geelong versus Port. In Rowan Buse, out Cooper Stevens, Myers Nevitt. In Jonas Dumont, out Frederick Fantasia or Fantasia. I think that was a joke. They conned BT to say Fantasia one time, I think. And then Dersma out. So Cooper Stevens and Nevitt, I guess Nevitt we were never really going for, but Cooper Stevens is third year in the system. I guess you can't really trust the Geelong rookie under Chris Scott. It's just, why play youth when you can play Gary Rowan? Unreal. So Geelong's defense, SDK's been solid, so he's looked really good. You could field him. I feel like a down game is just around the corner with him, but he's still taking those big marks, so still wouldn't feel awful fielding him, but if you had to, but still one I'll probably hold at least another week. I guess you could get rid of him if you're really desperate for money and you want to grab a defender rookie now, but we could look at Cleary next week, so you could hold off, but I guess it depends on your situation. I'd definitely rather hold another week. Interchange. So yeah, this is like Geelong is Geelong. It's stupid, borderline irrelevant team aside from Stewart. Port Adelaide's defense. Butters half forward, Rosie half forward. So they're named half forward every week, but they still get solid mid time. So I'm still worried about Butters. I actually if I had Rosie and Butters, I'd be more confident in Rosie from the eye test. Butters is so reckless, it still stresses me out, and he's just time and ground's been really, really low the past month, like past 4 weeks. 3 games in the 70s or something like that. Even one maybe in the 60s. I think he had like one game 80%, one game 60 something percent Gastro game, and then the other 2 in the 70s. Yeah, not a little bit worried, because if you look back in his first 2 games, I think his first game he had 92%, or one of the first 2 rounds he had 92% TOG. So that really hurts his ceiling. So I just keep holding this, I guess, and hopefully just maintains price or somehow turns into a keeper, but it's looking less and less likely. So yeah, hopefully, we know he's got a big ceiling, so hopefully that comes out at some stage. This is whatever on the bench. So North versus Melbourne. In Greenwood, Hornfranco, Simpkin and Jerry. Out R2, CCJ, Lazaro, Marnie, Stevenson. So no real relevance there. I guess we've all moved on. Cherry, I would assume. In Melksham, out Harms, Chandler. So like Melbourne every week, like 1 or 2 changes, nothing relevant. Just the 3 big dogs that they got. I guess Angus Brayshaw kind of relevant, but does he stay in that role when Salem comes back? I don't know. Not sure. So North Melbourne's defense, that is not the greatest defense I've seen on paper. Oh boy. That could be a field day for their forwards, and they don't have a matchup for Petrarca. Interesting. So center line, Perez on wing, doesn't score super great there, but it looked okay. Curtis has been good if you have him. Not scoring super well, but he looks good as the last buy, which helps. Where's Goldie? Goldie's in the forward line. His named follow-up, but they probably use Cherry, but it's whatever. Then Melbourne, I don't think there's any point bothering with Melbourne. Hopefully Max can not score 70 when I pay 670 for him. Richmond versus Essendon. Dreamtime game. So in Gibcus and Tarrant, out One. I hope I said that right. Pickett and Noah Bolter. In Devon, out, or Devon Smith, out Caldwell and Cutler. So down back for Richmond. It's whatever. Short in the midfield again, so I keep an eye on him. Essendon should be a better matchup. Martin named forwards. I don't really love Martin. I think they'll just spend too much time forward this year, but not sure. Rioli last on the bench. Just kind of hoping he plays through the buys, but his pressure acts are good. The coach said, Hardwick said that he plays an important role for the team. So hopefully that means they keep him in for the time being, but he'll need to perform, because too many quiet ones, even if he's not kicking goals or getting any of the ball at all, you would think that he just puts himself in more and more danger of being dropped. But I guess it's up to Hardwick if he sees him as just apply pressure. Essendon Ridley has been named on the bench. Has hamstring tightness. That is not good. You're always kind of stressed when your player goes into a game with hamstring tightness. I remember with Aaron Hall, he had the rumours he had hamstring scans and did his hamstring. I guess he's playing. I guess we'll see if he's laid out, but just be wary, he could be laid out. Honestly, I wouldn't mind trading him, to be honest, even though he's been good the past few weeks. Oh man, they're kind of stressful. If he does like a hammy, that's disaster. So I guess you can't really predict these things. Nick Martin, I think I'm trading Nick Martin this week, which is a bit sad because I really, really like him. Like watching him play. And I think last week, just a victim of playing at the SCG, small ground, a bit harder for wingers. So I guess like you can hold and trade, but he's probably around his max. But he's doing quite well. And sometimes I think, do I trade Nick Martin or do I trade Zach Butters? And I think, well, I trust Martin a bit more, but here I am trading Martin just because Butters has the ceiling. So I don't know. And Nick Martin's probably a bit better for fantasy, but he's still scoring well in Supercoach. Seen a few people bring in Parrish this week, Dreamtime game. So usually that's a big one. I guess you could. I don't mind. I think he's around top 8, like 7th to 11th range. Just kind of depends on how he goes. Not tackling much, it's a little concerning, but still scoring well. So maybe that's a good thing if you get up his tackles a bit more. And yeah, Hobbs has been good. I'm very lucky I have him, but yeah, he's one. I don't want him on the field though. Just had to do it last week, but yeah. He should get to 300. So Dogs into O'Brien, out Rocksmith, out Duray. So still no English. So Tim English is not one I'm interested in or planning for in the forward line. Maybe later in the season, but given coming off the hamstring, had a really bad bout of pneumonia, if that's how you say it. Like he's dropped a lot of weight. Apparently, I heard 8 to 10 kilos somewhere. I haven't had that confirmed, but that's what I read somewhere. So that's very concerning. And like to think that he's gonna come off that layoff and just come in and dominate in the ruck. Like, what if they just like ease him in and play him and Sweet together? So if you've held, I'd be kind of concerned. And if you're looking at getting him ASAP, I think that's a little too risky for my liking. So I just keep an eye on English when he comes back. That's probably my take. I wouldn't touch him before the buys. And yeah, I guess Bailey Smith and where's Bontempelli named forward? Baz and Bont. So both around 37%. They need to get to, in terms of their forward time, they need to get 35 at least to be forward eligible. So they're both on track. So I think if 2 games they both have 30% forward time, then they won't get it, but they need above that for the next 2 games. So, well, they need to average at least, I think, yeah, average at least 30% over the next 2 games each to get it, something like that. It's interesting because if they don't get it, we'll speak about COGS in a second. Well, COGS is probably still one of the better forwards. I guess it depends on how much faith you have in COGS. But if they do get it, well, you're going to be losing points if you don't get both. So it's a little concerning. I think with my situation, unless I start going for like a value mid or something instead of paying up for a big dog, say going a Brayshaw over a Laird or something, I guess it depends on your situation, but you definitely want to bring him in. But if you can't bring both in, I'd still aim for at least one and probably Bont, but maybe only one of them gets it, who knows. So it's a really tough one, and it's, yeah, a little bit luck dependent, I guess, but if you can, I'd still plan for both. If you can, depends on your trades as well. So Bont probably goes. Oh, interesting that Norton's playing, so that might help. That doesn't help Bont actually, because if Norton wasn't playing, maybe they use Bont forward. So I think probably Baz is more likely than Bont, just because they might just throw Bont in the mid, because like they really, really need to win this game against the Suns. They've been good recently, so maybe they want Bont more in the midfield. But yeah. Cleary, McComb named, which is good. I'm still worried about him because of his kicking so bad, but maybe they think they're playing a role for him. Luke Cleary is ahead of Crozier. I quite like Cleary. I think he played well, did a lot of the basics well. Looks comfortable back there, so he's one I'll look at next week. he needs to play well to hold his spot, because this is kind of a hard team to break into. Duray out with illness. Like, does Duray come in for Cleary? That's I guess we'll hopefully look at that next week. And yeah, Buku Karmas. I'm actually going Rory Thompson over Karmas. It's hard to say because Karmas has looked good, but has he actually been that good over 4 quarters? I feel like he's played 2 to 3 good quarters out of 8 against two of the weaker defenses in Port and Collingwood. So, I still think he'll be alright. It's just, does he lose his spot when Bruce comes back? I mean, looking at this forward line, it's just, this is a full-blown midfield. 3 midfielders in the forward line. I guess McComb can go a bit forward, so it's... Yeah, they only got the 2 tolls. I guess Bont is the toll, but, you know, they play in midfield. So maybe he can play with Bruce. I'm not sure. Are they missing anyone else? I can't remember. I guess English. Maybe they play English forward. I don't know. So I think the whole purpose of Buku is you want him to play in the first bye, and you might be okay in the third bye, because most people should be okay for that bye, because there's no rookies in that bye basically. Oops, as I opened Discord. So I think, yeah, Karmas is an okay pick. I'm going Thompson. I think his job security is a little bit better. He looked good. Yeah, he's a little bit of an injury risk, but I don't know. He's a bit more seasoned. I think they've been a bit careful with him this year, easing him in. So he's had a bit of time to build himself up. And his job is just to play through the buys and provide cover later in the year if required. Whereas I'm not sure Buku can do that, but maybe Buku has a high ceiling during the buy round. So, you know, he kicked 3 last week and only scored 60 odds. So I'm not sold on Buku. I'm going Thompson. But if you like Buku, that's fine. I think Buku will be the more popular option. But yeah, Thompson, we'll be lucky to get 50 average out of him. I think averaging the 44 at the moment. So probably more expecting 45s. So those are the 1%ers and stuff. That's probably enough. Roses, I'm trading Roses. It's just because I have to get rid of someone for Greg Clark. Otherwise, I wouldn't be trading Roses. I think he should keep playing, and he looked good, and his time on ground has jumped back up. Freo versus Collingwood. In Meek. Okay, this is extended bench. In Meek, Taberner, Walters, Swikowski. For Collingwood, in Ginnivan, Elliott's back, Cox. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Murphy, Reef, Pendle's back, and Trey Ross. Out. Did I say out for Freo? Tracy. Out for Collingwood is Begg. Omitted. Callum Brown, Finn McRae, and Magin. Okay, just touch on Freo. So there's probably nothing to discuss on Freo's side. Maybe Erasmus plays. He's 200k, so he's probably gone. A few people asking, is it too late for Brody? He is a good buy. With Fife coming back, I think you'd probably skip just in case that affects his scoring. I feel like the ship sailed for Brody, but yeah, he's all right. I guess he's still a tad underpriced for what he's doing. I don't know. With Fife coming back, you've probably missed a lot of the good scores now. I'm not sure how that affects him. Maybe it drops him to like a 95 average. I don't know. I'd probably look elsewhere for the Dogs mids and just figure something out over the buys. Collingwood side of things. Pendle's back. Crisp is... So he had... What was he? A bit fluey a few days ago. And he plays on Sunday. So hopefully that's enough time for him to get up. But I would have a emergency plan just in case. But he'll get up. He plays every game. Dacos named on bowl. It's like whatever. I've traded Dacos, but if you want to hold through the buys, I think that's smart. Darcy Cameron is playing with Mason Cox. So where's Cox? So they're both playing. So I don't know what that ruck split will be, but I think the consensus from what I've read is Cox is a better ruckman than he is a forward. So it'll be interesting to see the split between the two. I still think Darcy will get decent ruck time, and he actually averaged okay playing mostly forward last year. I think 77. So surely he can go 85 even with Cox with upside, you know, all the way up to maybe 100. So not 100% sure, but his around the groundwork is fantastic. I thought he'd do a better job on Jordan Sweet last week. It was probably disappointing in that aspect. But yeah. Oh boy, let's get to the Giants. Actually, we'll save the Giants for last. We'll go this one. Hawthorn Lions. CJ, Howe, Callow, Hardigan, Shields, Nedlong, Tom Mitchell. Interesting to see if CJ affects Sicily much. He's been out for a fair while. Connor McDonald, I think that means omitted. I'm holding him. I feel like he should come back in, but I'm not sure. Finn McGuinness out, Gunston out, Warple omitted. About time. And then Brisbane in Dev, in Mitch Robbo, in Leicester, in Fullerton, out Marcus Adams. So yeah, extended bench is still. So Hawthorn's team. Butler's a rookie. I think he scored like 18. So not really one to look at. Ned Long's been on the emergency list for quite a while. So keep an eye on him. Maybe he gets a game. I think his VFL. I think his NAB League numbers were good from memory. Tom Mitchell's back in. So he's 520k. In 190 average, so he'll be in the 400s. So Sam Mitchell said that he'll be a centre bounce midfielder for us. We need help in that area. No Warple in the team. Needed a rest. I think he was. They said he was sick, like he had like a bad flu or something in that game leading up to where he scored really poorly. So maybe he just needed a rest to freshen up. He's an interesting one. Just because of the price, and maybe they want to use him more in the midfield for the rest of the year, but I feel like if you can pay up, I'd probably look elsewhere. I know Merritt's getting pretty cheap. I feel he's slightly safer just with the role, but we'll see. And then Brisbane side, there's like nothing here. Yeah, Zorko's okay pick. I don't love it for durability purposes, but that depends if you see him as a durability risk or not. Not much else on Brisbane's side. So we'll get to the Giants. Oh boy. We're in Steen, Peatling, Brander, Hogan, Fahey, Matt Flynn, Bruin, and Sproul. In, out Stone, injured Hamilton, out. So interesting, we'll get to that. In, out Finn Callahan, some shoulder issue. Whitfield's out with an ankle issue. Keith out, Haynes, illness out. And West Coast, Gaff, Hoff, Williams, Shui, Bazo, True. In, out, Cripps, Ryan Foley. That's a lot of names. So touch on West Coast, maybe Dixon plays. I think no JJK, so maybe he plays again. Probably we dropped after that, so it's like whatever. Probably need to get rid of him. Or just keep him at R3 or something if you have him there. Yeah, nothing much to discuss. No SPP players, I don't think. None of these guys, they're all on extended bench. So Jamison is a ruck, played a bit of ruck. I think he's like 150k now, probably not worth it anymore. And then the Giants. So we'll go through this. So where is, I believe, Mature Ager, played halfback from memory in this NFL, put up some decent numbers. VFL numbers are okay, not incredible, but a few good ones, a few tons in there, I think. Who's next? So Fahey, similar, I think, a halfback as well, putting up good numbers in the VFL. I think last week a bit of a quiet one in terms of numbers, but the month before that I think averaged nearly 100 odd. So they're on the extended bench. Do they take a Hamilton spot? That would be great if we got a defender in the first bye, or for me anyway. But just one not in the middle bye preferably. It's interesting to keep an eye on. And then Whitfield. So yeah, turns out he was injured the whole year. I guess I don't know. So was that the reason why he was playing poor? You would think so, because he can't be this bad. He's not this bad of a player. He said he was super fit, fittest has ever been in the preseason, all that. I'd probably trade now. He might, they're 2 games to the bye. Why wouldn't you just give him this week, next week a bye, let him freshen up, and then come back? So I'd probably trade, I guess. Every chance he comes back and freshen up, starts playing well, new coach, better role. I can definitely see that happening. But yeah, it's interesting. There was a Big Footy rumour, a guy that's pretty reliable on there, because Big Footy, a lot of trolls, but there's a few reliable ones if you can find them. And he was saying that Whitfield was playing injured early, and that's part of the reason why I traded him. But I guess kind of forgot about that because he kept playing. But yeah, I guess I'd probably just trade, just get out, and just probably had enough by now. And then you're missing some premium scores now in that back line. So, and no guarantee he comes back to his best as well. So I think he will hopefully get close to it. So the Giants. Kelly on a wing. Does he play on ball? I'm not sure. Riccardi on a wing. That's probably troll. Probably use like Perryman there. Okay, Lockie Asher halfback. This is interesting. So again, team sheets aren't be all and end all, because we've seen like Bevo put like I don't know, like every player everywhere basically in the past. You know, we saw early in the year North Melbourne putting Goldstein as first ruck when Cherry was first ruck, stuff like that. So Ash was getting very high CBA amounts, and he's moved to halfback. So they're potentially, again, we don't know because it's just team sheets, but the way this looks, and his best position right now looks to be halfback. Maybe in the future midfielder, but I think you're silly not to play him off halfback. He's really good halfback flanker, offensively. But yeah, his CBAs were in the 70s, so you would think that goes to others such as Cornelio. Where's Bruin? He was getting a lot of CBAs. So who gets the CBAs? Well, Green should. Kelly should get a few. Ward probably gets some, and COGS. So they play the senior group plus Tom Green, and like maybe rotate. I guess Taranto can get some as well. Taranto's probably the best forward out of the lot when he's on. And then maybe Bruin gets some as well. So do you hold or do you trade Cornelio? If you think if you really need his money, I guess you can trade. Like, I'm looking at the forward line here, and this is only if Baz and Bont play, I think, the third game, or the second or third game, so Saturday afternoon. So maybe we can get a gauge, I forget which word it is, on how they play, how much forward time they play, to see if they get closer or worse to forward status. But okay, so if it's not COGS, who do you want? English is a wait and see. Talks he might be out next week as well, so it's like, is he even going to return to his best? I don't know. Dusty's playing a lot forward. Not sure I want Dusty, to be honest. Libba, yes, I guess. His dribbling has been okay the past few years, but he's had a few niggles in preseason, and I think he's missed a few games here and there. Brody, I guess if you have Heaney's good. Trelaw is durability risk. Pat Lip is okay. He's just he kind of just scores in weird. He's just very weird skill set. Like, it's just weird, but he just scores okay in it. I've spoken enough about him on this channel. So Taranto's been horribly out of form. Like, Gresham's okay, but you're not trading him in now. Same with Bailey. So it's like, what is there? There's not a whole lot else, unless you really like someone you don't have. I already have Parker, I guess. If you don't have Parker, definitely grab him. And even Butters. Most people still have Butters. Like, who do you trust more, Butters or COGS? I don't know who I trust more, to be honest. So I guess he played more midfield in the first two rounds. I've watched tape on him. I watched tape on him this week. Excuse me. He goes to defensive stoppages a lot. So it's not like he's pure forward. I thought he was more forward on the weekend, and even weeks before that. Probably he was the most midfield he'd been this week when he scored 37 than he was in the first 2 weeks. I guess he had a really bad game, copped a really bad knock. I don't know if it's kind of a combination of both. I think just after half time he copped that big knee in the back and had a lot of clangers as well. Like, a lot of the times where he was able to win the ball, he was stripped straight away, or he had to chuck it on the boot because he had to get rid of it and then turned it over. It was a bit dewy as well, so he did shank a few. I guess we're making excuses for him. I think if you have two forwards in mind, or if you have other players in mind, or more faith in like a Butters or something, and you just want to trade him out now because you're planning to trade him out, you don't believe in Cornelio, or go ahead, trade him. If I had enough money or trades to get to both Bailey Smith and Bontempelli, who again we don't even know 100% if they're going to get DPP, well, I'd be happy to get rid of Cornelio. So if you're in that boat, that's fine. If you're in a position where you think you might need a hold of Cornelio, struggling for cash gen or low on trades or both, my cash gen's good, my trades are not, then you can. It's possible. He's averaging 88 for the season. Before the last 2 weeks, he was 98. Just had 2 bad weeks. I guess that's part of the pick. So averaging 88 now. Playing forward and mid, still pushing up the grounds. You know, you can still get mid-time without CBAs. So new coach, potentially more CBAs this week or more mid-time than previous weeks. West Coast, Brisbane, he scored like 2 150s on the past 2 matchups. I think a 150 and a 120, something like that. West Coast is North in the next 3. I think I'm willing to hold and see there's potential for this to be a keeper. I thought he's looked good up until the past 2 weeks, but you know, if you think he's washed or he's not going to get the mid-time, whatever, you don't want to bet on the bad break even, because if he does go bad this week, it's problems. but still keep holding after that, because you commit this week or you get out. That's how I see it, unless something goes terribly wrong. So that's my view on Cornelio. I'm holding, not against trading, not at all. But yeah, I wish you all the best of luck in your decision on what you do with that. If you already traded him and you missed the 30 odd point, the 30 score, you're laughing. But yeah, that's enough from me. I think that's gone 30 minutes or something, but we'll see. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.